All right, we're now at the last subsection of the AFNI Proc Quality Control HTML. This is the qsumm section, which stands for summary quantities or the quantitative summary. So this is something that's created by SS Review Basic when AFNI Proc's processing script finishes. During the entire processing, AFNI Proc or the proc script itself, has been storing up useful quantities, both from the input data and even about the input software being used, including, as you can see here, the version number of it and the operating system, and the kind of raw data set properties and input, but then also things that it found interesting quantities. So for our given motion limit, how many TRs were above that motion limit, and things like this. So for the number of runs, anyways, we'll take a look at this a little bit, but it stores up a lot of quantities that it finds during processing, and then also some summary quantities that are derived from the processing itself. It's like TSNR, global correlation, etc. So this comes at the end of processing. If I just jump to the terminal directory for a second, this is something that, as many things here, has been available from AFNI Proc output for a while, and it's just grouped together in the QC HTML. If I look here, there's a file, I'm going to cat it to display in the terminal, called out.ssreview, and there's one which has the subject ID, which in this case is this. So this out.ssreview, single subject review. If I display this file, we see that actually it's the exact same file that's being displayed here. This is actually, whether you look at it in this way or this way, this is actually a dictionary where these are the keys and these are the values. So this is something that could be stored as a JSON dictionary or other form, and the colon separates. So these are descriptive terms to kind of help guide us with what's there. But we should think about this as a key. And when we've processed a subject, for this subject, group level analysis, for every subject, we have this set of quantities. And something we'll look at later is how we can go over all of these quantities at the group level and check for consistency, outliers, and things like that. For example, did we always use the same AFNI version when we processed our group of data? Or did some subject have a particularly high amount of TRs being censored? Or is there a low TSNR on average? These are useful things to have stored up. Again, this is having an overall kind of start to finish set of quantities of interest to compare and check in one place is really a nice feature of having a single full processing done by one program like AFNI Proc here. So at this level where we see it in the quality control check, this is here as a useful reference. So if I forgot what my input voxel resolution was, I can see it right here. And if I forgot what my output resolution was, I can see it here quite quickly. We'll take a look in a different video about how we can use the fact that this is stored in a text file in the results directory to put all of this information in a spreadsheet for every subject. Each one of these labels here becomes a column, and subject by subject we fill in the row worth of information, and we also have a program to parse all of these and look for outliers or patterns or whatever we want from it, and that's useful. That's called SS Review Table, GenSS Review Table. So here it's a nice reference, and I don't know that we would really see something problematic here that we wouldn't have seen up above. A lot of these quantities we'll have seen in some form, but they're just useful and summarized here altogether. And then at the end, we mentioned that this final block here is for storing kind of our overall, how we feel about the data. We've seen as we've gone through that actually there were a couple problems, in particular in the warns section. These EPI variance lines might be really problematic, and we might click and leave that as X and control click and put variance line artifact and leave that there. And in the end, this may actually make our data unusable, or maybe we decide we're not sure because this is task-based data, if this is going to be a problem. This is really something that we'll be investigating more and more over time. But there we go. That's the quantitative summary block, as well as the final